Hello. What point of view are you writing or reading? That's what I'm going to be giving you a guide to today, a simple guide to working this out. This is really a handout, and it's the most important one that I give to my students. There's a lot in it, but it's in very skeletal form, so I'm going to read through it, but I'm also going to comment upon it. The best way to use it is to try answering these questions for something that you're working on, or a piece of writing that you know really well, but you're puzzled by the point of view that it's using. Maybe it has a complicated point of view, maybe it has multiple points of view. Apply these questions and try to work out and state exactly in some answers, some noted down answers, what the point of view is for each narrative voice, for each section. So, to work out what point of view a story or novel is being told from, you should ask these three questions. First, who is speaking? Second, when are they speaking? And third, who are they speaking to? Or, poshly, to whom are they speaking? Who is speaking? When are they speaking? Who are they speaking to? By who is speaking, I also mean who is writing and who is having the thoughts in their head transcribed. Sometimes a narrator is not someone we imagine ever sitting down to write, to type out 80,000 words. This is the case with Holden Caulfield in Catcher in the Rye. Holden Caulfield is a stolen head narrator. He doesn't actually do the labour of writing. He has his sensibility, his vocabulary used by J.D. Salinger. So you can have a writer on the page who is illiterate, for example, or just very lazy. Let's go through these questions one by one. Who is speaking? Are they a character who appears in the timeline of the story? They could be a character who appears afterwards, say the child of a generation of grandparents, and their doings are narrated by someone who appears within the bloodline of the text, but not actually within the timeline. Next question. Are they directly involved in the events they're describing, or are they just floating around and looking on? In other words, are they a third-person narrator who is in no way embodied or endangered by what happens in the novel, in the story? And thirdly, are they an involved, impassioned, or a distanced, dispassionate observer? This may be to do with first person, third person, but it also goes back to the exercise we did before, which was about distance in time for the events, writing 5 minutes after a breakup, writing 50 years afterward. That is likely to mean going from impassioned to dispassionate, or perhaps amused at these events. If your story has multiple narrators, you need to be able to answer these questions, all these three questions, for each of them individually and then for the story as a whole. The likelihood for variety is that each of your narrators will differ in some way. Stories with multiple narrators have an invisible organising narrator. Generally, I would call them an invisible organising narrator, someone who is never necessarily mentioned or even particularly thought of by you, but who makes decisions such as when does a speaker finish speaking, when does the next speaker start. Okay, second big question. When are they speaking? When exactly are they speaking, this narrator, in relation to the time or the events they are speaking about? Has a lot of time passed since? This will affect their tone. This will affect how many terrific tiny details they can include. Has no or almost no time passed? This will mean they are still emotionally bound up in the more recent events. Do the events they are involved with in the story give them enough time to complete the writing of the text we're reading in the form we're reading it? This is particularly true if it's a first-person written-down account. If you're writing a thriller in diary form, you're going to have some serious problems with the compression of events towards the end. You're going to do a 20,000-word final entry with all the chase scenes in it, or are you going to admit that the diary form isn't really appropriate for that kind of chunking of time? So when are they speaking? And lastly, Who are they speaking to? To whom are they speaking? If there's an implied listener, what knowledge of people and events and the whole world within the story are they assumed to have? This is crucial for world-building kind of stories. If you have a world which is alien to the one that the readers know, how much footnoting are you going to do? How much nudging are you going to do? Or are you going to address them as if they know that world and let them do the catching up later? If you're writing a novel, working out precise answers to these questions may take you years. It may in fact be the main labour of your book, but it will manifest as questions about tone, as questions about address, by which I mean how matey you are, your narrator is with the reader, or how distant and ironic they are, for example. As I say, the most useful thing to do with these questions is take a story you're currently working on and go through them one by one. Can you answer them precisely enough that you feel secure in the point of view you're using? Please do like, share and subscribe, comment as well. Those are always useful for me. They're making a real difference in the writing of On Drafting. So thank you and hope to see you soon.